What is up, everybody? This is Monday, and today is Magic Pill Monday. Officially back after a hiatus for reasons that I won't get into. But, question for today: who struggles with their sweet tooth? Let's go. It's confession time. I have 3 sweet teeth. So I will be the first to confess. So put hands up in the chat. Say me, if you struggle with the sweet tooth, because I want to hear it and see if anybody's struggling. Because today I'm going to teach you how to have your cake and eat it too, and still be healthy and still lose weight. So that's kind of our topic for today. I'm going to reveal to you the secret strategy for my Nutrition Made Simple blueprint that I use with my clients that helps them lose 30, 40, 50, even 60 pounds while keeping their muscle and still having those treats that we all love, those of us that have sweet teeth. In my case, I have more than one. But just want to say thank you for everybody for tuning in. And if you're watching, I would love, and appreciate if you put live or replay in the comments. I'm going to see who's playing along. And let's go. Let's participate. Put live or replay if you're watching the replay. It's Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'd love to see some people participate in the chat. So today, we're going to talk about a sequencing strategy so you can have your cake and eat it too. All right. Before that, real quick introduction. I'm Coach Matt O'Brien. I'm a functional health coach and master trainer and nutritionist for the past 24 years. I had to think about that for a second. And put your name in the comment. I am using a new technology called StreamYard, and I got to thank my wife, Holly O'Brien, for showing me this awesome tech this morning. And you should be seeing a banner scroll across my name. And I am mega casting this to my personal profile, to my wife and I's Facebook group called Triumph Nation, and also to Triumph Fitness and Nutrition's Facebook page. So that's the mega cast here tonight. And those of you watching live, go ahead and put your name, just your first name, in the comments so I know who's watching. And if you're watching live or replay. And again, thanks to my wife for helping me relaunch Triumph Nation so we can help time-starved, purpose-driven people with their health and their happiness so that we can all live a longer, more fulfilling life. And if you're not in that Facebook group and you're interested in joining, put Nation in the comments and we will send you an invitation into our group where we are providing valuable content and building a like-minded community of support to help us all. We all need encouragement. We all need help along the way. So I see Jen and Bev and Sunny. Thank you for putting your name and playing along. Everybody play full out. It helps me, keeps me energized. This is a service I'm doing for you and for me too. The process of preparing for these is always a great tune-up. Keep sharpen my sword, sharpen my skills. So thank you for tuning in and watching live. So those of you who watch it later, you can put replay. But let's get into today's topic. These are going to be short and sweet episodes, and let's see if this works. There you go. So today we're talking about how to have not just cake, but any of those treats if you have a sweet tooth. But for some, those treats can be, say, savory snacks and chips and crackers and donuts and all those things. Ice cream. I love some ice cream too. But today, I promise you, I'm going to teach you how this works and how you can have those things, not feel guilty, still achieve your health goals. If you're trying to lose weight, you can still lose weight while having some cake. So, true confessions of a trainer, going back a long time, there's always a little bit of a stigma going out if somebody knows you're a trainer and they're watching what you eat all the time and seeing what is he eating. And then certainly God forbid I eat something besides chicken and broccoli, somebody's going to point it out. But as you get older and wiser, you stop caring what other people think. And that is one of my definitions of wisdom. And I teach this to my kids. Wisdom in the younger trainers and people I get to mentor, as I say, wisdom is when you get to the point where you stop caring what other people think. You have formed your own opinion. You believe in yourself. You can look at yourself in the mirror and like what you see. So that's an endless journey. Trust me. I don't always like what I see, but I'm mostly to that point now. So again, if you are joining in now and you haven't put in the comments, let me know your name, because I am using a tech called StreamYard, which is really cool for those of you that like to broadcast. You just can't see. It just says Facebook user. So thanks for playing all out. You can put that in the comments if you're watching live. So let's play and move all along and get into really the reality check. The reality check of today, and this is just facts from the FDA based on food consumption patterns from 2017 data, which is the last that was available, at least in the source that I was reading. But based on what we buy, 65% of our calories today in America are coming from processed and ultra processed foods. Why is that? Because they completely hijack our senses. They make us feel good for a minute or two, and we learn to medicate with food and drinks. That's just reality. So part of this journey, or what I call the road to health, which is never ending, is self-awareness, or becoming aware of our reality. So that's what I call the reality check. The more you become aware of your environment and your decisions, the more influence you're going to have over them. So I call this part of the ownership equation. We have to take ownership of our nutrition, of our mental state, our mindset, our goals, our circumstances. We can't always control those things, but we certainly, absolutely can control how we react to them. And even in the most dire circumstances, I like to say you can make lemonade out of life's lemons. And it takes practice, but that comes with a practice of gratitude, which is not the subject of today, but certainly in a future episode of Magic Pill Mondays. If you like this idea of providing some valuable content that we can all share and learn from, let me know. I see Dr. Lipton's playing along. I'm curious why I see your name. That's really cool. Maybe that's because you're on my personal profile. But what's up, Doc? She's one of my biggest fans, and I'm one of her biggest fans. And thank you for playing along. And those of you watching, Bev and Sunny and Jen, please throw stuff in the chat, because I can see it, and it keeps me excited to know I'm not sitting here by myself. So that's the reality check. So what are some survival strategies that will allow us to navigate, stay healthy? And if you have a goal of weight loss, and a lot of us do, I think it's 2/3 of Americans are now overweight or obese. That's just, again, a fact. And not to be a Debbie Downer, but that's just a fact. So that reality check means that a lot of us are probably trying to lose weight. A lot of us probably have tried to lose weight and struggled in the process. If you've struggled and tried to lose weight, type struggle in the chat for me. I want to know if it's not just me. And I grew up as Fat Matt, and I know the stigma. I know I still look in the mirror. I'm just being transparent, and I know I have awareness that it's called body dysmorphia, and I look at myself and see Fat Matt still. No matter how lean I get, even when I was competing, I still see a fatty in the mirror, and that's called body dysmorphia. But here's the good news. Being aware of that and studying body dysmorphia and gaining understanding, I can logically look at my body fat levels using an in-body scan and see that I'm about 10 to 11% on a good day. And I know that number is good. So my logical brain can smack the crap out of my emotional brain and tell me that I'm okay, even though I see a fatty in the mirror. So that's just me being real with you, and I want you to be real with me. Nobody else is going to see it except here on Facebook land. But let's just pretend we are playing along. Somebody put struggle is real, hormonal issues. Age does make it more challenging as we go through those hormonal changes, andropause and menopause, andropause for males, menopause for females. But here's the deal. Ownership, going back to ownership. Studies have proven if you clean up your nutrition, you get your ass moving. Movement is the magic pill. That's my book. That's the metaphor. That's the takeaway. If you do these things and clear out a lot of the inflammation in your environment, in your friendships, in your relationships, and in the foods and drinks that we put down this contraption called our mouth, you can improve your hormonal profile. So that, my friends, is what I call the forest. And if you're not doing those things, you can't, and I'm just being real with you, you can't blame your hormones. They're going to suffer if you're not doing the forest, if you're not eating real foods, if you're not managing your stress, if you're not getting sleep. Stress and sleep will wreck your hormones. And yes, they're going to be crappy. But here's the deal. We are in control. So somebody put way more challenging with age. But I'm here to tell you there are tools. This is a little off topic. I promise I'm going to get to the subject of how you can have cake and eat it too. But since people are saying it, I want you to understand we have ownership. I'm 55, almost 55. I'm dating myself. I'm 54. I'll be 55 in July. And if you're following my Drive for 55 challenge, hopefully that'll inspire you. But don't let age, don't blame age. If you give power to that, if you give power to somebody saying you're a failure, guess what? It's going to come true. That's what I call beliefs create reality. So steal that power back and don't give away your ownership of your health. So that's a little off topic, but it's important because ownership is one of the things I teach in my Mindset Academy, my 4 O's to grow. Ownership is a big one. So I'm here to tell you there's good news. The glass is half full. And when you do the forest, which I teach in, I'm going to go over the Nutrition Made Simple blueprint, which is the forest relative to nutrition, here with you in a second. So let's jump into that forest real quick. And that is how I'm going to reveal the strategy as promised of how you can have your cake and eat it too. Somebody also said they're going to be 55 in June. You can put your name so I know who it is, but doesn't matter. Thanks for sharing that. We're going to turn 50. Well, you beating me to it, but age is a number. If you do the right things, all those things I mentioned previously, I'm telling you, you're going to feel good. And there's definitely tools to help manage the process. But today, let's get into what I call my Nutrition Made Simple blueprint. And this is from my Road to Health coaching program. I call it Road to Health 360. And we're launching the next iteration of that in the coming weeks. But anyway, this is one of the things I teach, and I do this in a workshop. But here's the quick blueprint, the forest, what I call the forest. If you do these things relative to nutrition, all these good things are going to happen, including improving your hormones, improving your sleep. And so you do have to manage your stress. But let's talk about real quick overview of the ground rules. Eat real, whole, actual foods. So that should be the majority or 80% of the food and calories you put in your body. That could be a challenge because we know 65% of the calories from America are from processed and ultra-processed foods. So that's a biggie. Do that, and a lot of things fall into place. I like to say put in more of the good, and it'll push out or leave less room for the bad. And one of the illustrations I use, if you imagine a big picture of dirty, crappy water that you would never want to drink, If you take clean, pure water and keep pouring it in there, aka the good stuff, guess what? The bad stuff flows out. So that's just an easy metaphor to think when you're sitting down to make a food choice. Put in the good to push out the bad. So number 2 is what we're going to talk about today, is how you have your cake and eat it too with my protein forward, protein first strategy. But fast forwarding past that, number 3, don't drink your calories. Your body does not recognize liquid calories like it does with whole food calories. The exception to that would be, say, a protein or meal replacement smoothie, which can be a convenient, very calorie controlled, calorie regulated option to have as a meal or a meal replacement or as a high protein snack, which does not negate number 4, don't snack your calories. We become a snacking nation, and COVID proved why that's a problem. Did you know the average American, and I still have trouble believing it, but based on the consults I've done post-COVID, I see enough evidence to believe that it could be true. But 2 different studies, one said the average American gained 26 pounds during COVID, and the other said 29. So that is a lot of weight to gain, and so therefore a lot of people have hopefully lost it. But if you haven't, I have some strategies for you. Number 5 is fasting is a faster way to lose fat. It helps restore metabolic function. That does not mean starving yourself. It's just time-restricted feeding to increase metabolic function or to improve or restore your metabolism. And then finally, Hydration Nation. This is going live into Triumph Nation. So I'm speaking to you, but hydrate with water, real water. And if you can avoid putting flavoring things in there, I don't care if they're natural, non-nutritive sweeteners. If you taste sweet, you're going to crave sweet. That's just another little gem nugget for you. But if that's what you have to do to stay hydrated, I'd much rather you use a flavor packet in pure water than go hammer 2 liters of Coke or Pepsi for you Pepsi people. So that's my ground rules of my Nutrition Made Simple blueprint. But let's dive into the big one there, number 2. So this is a really cool strategy that really works. I don't have it on now, but I collectively wore a continuous glucose monitor for a cumulative amount of 9 months. And if you don't know what that is, the CGM, it tracks your real-time constant levels of blood sugar. Most of you have gone to the lab and done a fasting blood sugar test. That doesn't really tell you much. Here's another tidbit for you. Ask your doctor, and we have one on here. Hopefully she would agree with me. Get a fasting insulin test. And if your insulin levels are high, that's a much more real-time, in-your-face reality check for what is happening with your pancreas and your insulin. Because if your insulin levels are high, to control your blood sugar, to make it look normal on a fasting blood sugar test, once your fasting blood sugar is starting to rise up and your A1C score along with it, that means your body can't make enough insulin anymore to keep your blood sugar normal. So by the time that blood sugar reading is high, you could have been metabolically damaged for 10 plus years. So that's another little free nugget for you. Get your fasting insulin tested over your fasting blood sugar. But anyway, a CGM is a way for me to watch what my blood sugar does post-prandial or post-meal to see what or how my blood sugar reacts to different foods or different combination of foods. And this is why I know this strategy works. And I'm going to convince you real quick with a little experiment I did with my dad, who is he turned 80 last year, retired physician. I wouldn't call him a health nut, but he is pretty darn healthy, and he eats the most organic, properly sourced steel-cut oats every single morning. And the last time I visited him, I had my CGM on, and he does it with some walnuts and some wild organic blueberries. And I asked him, I told him I was wearing my CGM, and I was like, hey, let's see what your oatmeal does to my blood sugar. And for those of you who have no clue what blood sugar, anything over 120 after you eat a meal is no bueno. is definitely not desirable. And the higher above that number, the worse off you are. For reference, on multiple thousands of data points with the company I'm with, Levels Health, with their CGM system, they're collecting all these data points. On average, a donut will raise your blood sugar to 135, just to give you reference. All right. So I eat my dad's steel cut oats, which are essentially a starch, and cooked and milled and all that stuff. My blood sugar went up to 146, and that was not good. And about 11 a.m. that morning, I was starving. And this is what happens. You spike that blood sugar, your body oversecretes insulin, and you get that crash. And then you're starving because your blood sugar is low, or you're hangry because your blood sugar is low. So that is a little bit of blood sugar 101. So how can you have oatmeal, or in most cases cake and ice cream and other treats, and get away with it, and even lose weight in the process? So who wants to know? I want to see a show of hands. Put your hands up, say me, say yes, whatever. Those of you watching live, if you want to know my secret, how to have cake on my blood sugar monitor and keep my blood sugar below 106. I've done it so many times, and I'm talking about ice cream, cookies, cake. What are some other pie? I had cherry pie, blueberry pie, cheesecake. I've tested it with. What are some of the other favorite treat foods? Put some favorite treat foods in here because I'm blanking, but I know it's like cookies, candies, cake, crackers. What are some other ones? Those are just one. But I see enough yeses. I'm going to teach you my secret. So how can I keep my blood sugar at 106 and still have a piece of cake? So that goes back to that Nutrition Made Simple blueprint and what I call protein forward nutrition. And this is the strategy I teach to my clients that want to lose body fat. It is when you have a meal and you want that treat, you want to use a sequencing strategy I call PVT. The P stands for protein. The V stands for vegetable, or some kind of source of fiber from a fibrous carbohydrate, aka vegetable, the right kind of vegetable. And then the T stands for the treat, whatever it is. You got to do that. So if you go to Outback, I always love to use Outback as my example. That's where my wife and I go and bring our kids. They like to have dessert. You must, and this takes discipline, but to do that protein forward, protein first strategy, you must skip the bread that they stick in front of your face, and my face too, when you sit down at the table. They do that intentionally in the restaurant industry, not blaming your specific server. They're just doing what they're told. But the restaurant industry knows that if you eat that bread, you're going to spike your blood sugar and your body's going to secrete some insulin. And it's going to start crashing, and you're 30% more likely to order additional food, drinks, and dessert. So that's one of the reasons they do it, not just to shut you up or shut me up. So if you can skip the bread and somehow get protein first. So one of the things I would do at Outback, if I'm really, really hungry and I don't want to wait to my entree, or we want to sit there with my wife and I have some good conversation, is I order the grilled shrimp on the Barbie so that I can have a protein-based appetizer. Most cases, if you go there and you're not starving, which is always a good idea, never go to a restaurant starving, or the grocery store. Another protein first strategy in that, if you know you're going to be, it's been a while since you've eaten, or you're going to like a wedding or some kind of event where there's going to be a buffet that you may not have control over, have some protein before you go. That's another quick strategy. But so anyway, back to Outback. So if we weren't having an appetizer, but if I was protein-based, I'm going to, let's say, last time we went, my wife ordered the grilled salmon. I tried to order prime rib, but guess what? After I ordered, they came by and said, "Hey, Matt," well, he didn't say my name, but he said, "Sorry, we're fresh, completely out of prime rib." So that was a little disappointing. So I did end up having the equivalent 12 ounces of a ribeye, medium rare, baby, and steamed broccoli, double broccoli. And so in this case, my treat was a baked potato. But let's pretend it would be a piece of carrot cake, which after chocolate cake is my favorite cake. Who else likes carrot cake? Put your favorite cake. If you like cake, I want to know your favorite cake and put that in the comments for me. My first favorite is chocolate layer cake with a thin layer, and I'm not enticing everybody to go eat cake right now, but I could see how that could happen. But a thin layer of chocolate frosting between the moist cake, a triple layer cake with a little bit of thin frosting between, double chocolate. That's my jam. And that was the cake my wife made before my second son, Caden, was born in 2013. He was born the day after my birthday, whatever that one was. We had chocolate cake and 3 a.m. Guess who was born? Or my wife nudged me, it's time to go. But chocolate cake, then carrot cake. So let's pretend Outback. Sorry, I'm all over the place. But Outback or any restaurant. Order your protein. Could be pan-seared trout. It could be blackened salmon. It could be when we went to Guppy's last weekend, I got the blackened grouper. Whatever your protein jam is, and then a fibrous vegetable. So in this case, Outback, 12-ounce ribeye, steamed broccoli. And instead of the potato, let's pretend it was chocolate cake. So I'm going to eat the broccoli, eat the steak, and, eat them together. I get asked when I teach this, is it important to eat all the steak and then all the broccoli? No, you can eat them together. And truth be told, if you eat the broccoli first and then the steak, it would be even a little bit lower blood sugar effect. But there's other reasons why I say protein forward, protein first, especially women over the age of 50. Studies have shown RDA, you're going to be protein deficient. Protein deficiency in females, specifically over the age of 50, is directly correlated to sarcopenia, which is muscle wasting, and sarcopenia is directly correlated to osteopenia and osteoporosis, or bone loss. And most people are familiar with that one. So neither of those are things you want, because when you turn 70, you want as much muscle and bone density as possible. And hopefully the doc would agree with me on that one. But having your protein, so I want you to make sure you have sufficient amount of protein. So if that's at the expense of the broccoli, in this case, that's okay, because protein is also satiating. It also has a high thermic effect, meaning thermic effect of food, which is one of the other ways we burn calories. Protein has the highest by far. Fat is 0 thermic effect. Carbs are 4%, and protein is 25%. On average, there's a range like 23 to 26. So what does that mean? For every 100 calories of carbs you eat, you're going to assimilate 96. Fats, 100 for 100. And protein, you get a little vacation on your calories, so you might only assimilate 75 out of the 100. So that's because it has a high thermic effect. It's also highly metabolic and highly anabolic, meaning it's going to help you recover from exercise and intense activity. It's going to repair and remodel your muscle tissue, meaning build more muscle. And we want more muscle because muscle is our metabolism. So those of you that blame aging on your metabolism, studies have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that until we get to late 60s, our metabolism does not slow down if you maintain your muscle mass. The problem is most people don't maintain their muscle mass, and therefore their metabolism slows down because it's directly correlated. About 30 calories per pound of muscle to your basal metabolic rate. So that's secret number 2 from the magic pill. Move your ass, lift some stuff, lift some weights or resistance training to preserve or build muscle mass so that your metabolism goes up and you can eat more calories. So that's how it works. And then you would have, the other caveat is when you go to those treats, you got to keep them at a reasonable level, meaning 250 calories or less for most people. If you're highly active or you're have a lot of muscle mass, you could probably go as high as 350. For me, I can get up to about 325 before my blood sugar levels start to rise above that 105, 106. So back to my dad's story. Remember the oatmeal story? We did a little experiment. The next day, I had a 30-gram liquid protein drink before I had the oatmeal. And remember, I said 145, 146 the first day. With that protein forward strategy and Whole Foods Better, as you'll see in a second, my blood sugar was only 122, still a little high, a little higher than that 120 I told you we want to strive for. Everybody's blood sugars will react different to the same foods depending on your age and muscle mass and gender, but I'm using myself as N1 in this experiment. Day 3, I had a 3-egg omelet that he made and a slice of bacon, maybe 2 slices, I can't remember. And then he's like, aren't your oatmeals getting cold? And I was like, I'm showing you my protein forward strategy. Watch this. And then I had the oatmeal after the omelet and the slice of bacon. And yes, it wasn't as hot, but I could have heated it back up. And I ate that. And guess what? Blood sugar 105. 105. So that's more evidence, but I've tested it with cake and ice cream and cookies. And cookies is my trigger food. So eating protein is my weakness, says Jen. Jen, does that mean you don't eat protein or you like to eat protein? If you like to eat protein, that's not a weakness, that's a strength. So hopefully that makes sense. I want to make sure I'm conveying the right information here. But having a protein forward strategy and then moderating the treat calories afterwards, cake in this case, since we're talking about cake. So this is how I would have a carrot cake. I'm going to share one more real world example because you can still get in trouble because we eat with our eyes and restaurants are notorious for putting way too many food calories and food volume in front of our face. So I was in Austin, Texas with my beautiful wife, Holly. I don't know if she's watching. She may be doing her own online webinar show or something tonight. But we're at Austin for her event with her company Savvy. And I was doing some restaurant research. She loves French food. I found a French restaurant, which husbands, you want to love your wife, put them first. So she likes French. I found this other restaurant that I would rather have went to, but we went to the French restaurant. But in that research, the one I wanted to go to, when I went to their website and their menu, was like 3/4 of it was this beautiful picture on the front page of this carrot cake, world's best carrot cake. And it was this beautiful, huge piece of carrot cake, and that was all I could think about. So the deal I made with my wife was like, hey, we'll go to the French restaurant, but can we skip dessert and we'll swing by that restaurant and get a piece of carrot cake there. So that's the prelude. We get to the restaurant. I ask them, how big is this badass carrot cake? And they're like, oh my God, it's like this big. And he's like giving me this big sales pitch of how huge it was. So I asked him, I want to pay full price for the carrot cake, not asking you to give me a discount, but I want you to slice off this much. So it's like this much of a wedge and bring that to me and y'all can share the rest or take it home in the back, whatever. And then my wife and I were able to share a much more realistic, real world 200 calorie piece of carrot cake. So that also takes a little bit of discipline, like saying no to the bread. But if you really want the bread, I want you guys, now that you know my secret, how could you go to Outback and still have some of their delicious bread that somebody said their bread, Outback bread, was so delicious? So now that you know the secret, I want you to put it into action and teach me how you could have bread at Outback and get away with it. So put it in the comments. If you're watching in the replay, I will be reviewing these comments again the next few days. So play along, put it in the comments how you can do it. And in a second, I'll reveal the answer. But I want some people. Well, give me a specific example, like how you would play it out at Outback. And I kind of indicated how I do it, if you were paying attention. But How can you do it? I'll give you a chance. This is dramatic pause. And then we're going to wrap it up. So when you put protein first, after your meal, protein, vegetable, bread, eat it last. Tell them no bread. Yes, that's true. But if you really want it, you want your bread as the treat versus my carrot cake. Somebody said it. Yeah, you would add it, have it after the meal or after you've had the protein and some fibrous vegetables. So that's, you would just want to make that your treat. So the other caveat I would tell you is pick one T, whatever that is. If that's your bread, that's your treat, your starch. If for me the other night it was a baked potato. In Austin, Texas, it was the carrot cake. Other nights on my birthday, it was that chocolate cake. So protein, vegetable, and then your treat. So limit it to one, or if you're going to have two, you just got to downsize the portion. So in the case that I had the baked potato the other night, by the time I got to that baked potato, I only ate less than a half of it. And it wasn't a massive potato. So it was probably less than 150 calories of actual potato. So does this work? Thank you for those of you who love carrot cake like me. So I have a new client, and if you aren't paying attention or following along my social media, we're calling it the Fat to Fit Challenge. His name is Chris, and we just started working together and documented his weight, and it's over 340 pounds, and he's 6'1" and some change, and we want to get him down to his healthy weight. So I taught him, actually I showed him a video, which I posted in my coaching group. I give my coaching group, Road to Health, behind the scenes. So if you're in that group, you can check out that video. It's literally how to order breakfast with a starch, in this case, grits. So he did the same thing, but he made it at home and had a 3-egg omelet with some spinach and tomatoes in it, and then a slice of bacon. And then by the time he got to his fist-sized portion of grits, he only had 2 bites, and he was satisfied. He got to enjoy the grits, but he was full enough and in control enough that he didn't feel obligated to eat all of them. So if we were monitoring his blood sugar, that would have been a huge victory versus eating the grits first and probably some wheat toast. So that is the strategy. So if that was helpful for you, or at least the idea of it, the concept is simple. I'm trying to make things as simple as possible to make it actionable and things that you can incorporate in your life. If you find that it's simple, put simple in the comments for me. So when I'm reviewing back, that tells me that I taught the concept in a way that you understand it. Does not mean you're going to apply it. Applied knowledge is power, not knowledge is power. That's my other caveat. But simple and doable. Take some reps, like anything in life. Like I use exercise as a metaphor. Take some reps to see that it works and convince yourself. But every time you do that, self-awareness, like we talked about in the beginning, that is a huge victory. Remind yourself that you did it. We're so quick, and we're getting to some mindset stuff, but we are so quick to slam ourselves and criticize ourselves and point out when we fail, but we're so slow to point out those victories, those small decisions that are successful. So have the self-awareness to remind yourself when you do things right. That's going to reinforce your subconscious mind so that next time you're making that same choice, it won't take as much willpower or self-awareness to make that decision. So celebrate the small things. If you found this helpful, give me a thumbs up in the comments. Also, I'm going to poll you real quick. So thumbs up if you found it useful in the comments, whether you're watching live or the replay. And then what are some of the topics or things you struggle with? If you don't mind revealing those or sharing those with me when I go review the comments. And those of you think that people scroll comments on somebody else's post, who has the time? So it's pretty much between a conversation between me and you. If you put your struggles, and those are the struggles that I want to focus each week on, tackling some of those struggles. I know hormones is a big one, and we're going to definitely dive into that. I'm actually working on another certification as a hormones specialist. I don't know the exact title of the certification, but also male and females hormone specialist. So going through that just to refresh my memory, keep my sword sharpened so I have the skill sets to help people. But if you have struggles, put those in the comments, topics, things you struggle with, or just fill in the blank. I struggle with blank with my health or with trying to lose weight or whatever. So whatever that is, I appreciate your courage and transparency to put that in the comments, and I will give you credit if you want on a future Magic Pill Monday or topic post. If you're in Triumph Nation, we'll be doing topic posts on Topic Tuesdays. So we'll be rotating through health, hormones, recovery, which includes sleep, nutrition, and exercise. Those are kind of the 5 pillars. But stress eating, stress is massive, and the manifestation of, I'll just give you another quick takeaway. Stress, if you have the self-awareness to know when you're stressed, it is going to poke holes. If this was your stress bucket, or no, your willpower bucket, sorry. This is your willpower bucket. Mine's pretty full right now, but stress pokes little holes in this bottle and my willpower starts draining out. So a lot of stress or big stress, big holes, less willpower, and you're going to have less ability to make willpower decisions or use willpower. So that's why you just have to use your logical brain, say, I can have whatever stress is telling you to have to medicate with whatever, but have some protein first. And I promise you, it's not going to be as bad, at least from a blood sugar level, if you do that protein first strategy. So that, my friends, is how you have your cake and eat it too. And if you're trying to lose weight, you can still lose weight, as many of my clients would attest as they go down on their road to health journeys. But I see somebody put hormones and belly weight as a topic. That's a really good one, because stress, which raises cortisol, is going to cause visceral fat. For women, your estrogen protects you against abdominal fat and central, whatever it's called, adiposity, fat on your midsection. So postmenopause, you see more women that have that apple-sized fat storage pattern like men in their beer bellies. So the good news with that is HRT. That's another topic, hormone replacement therapy. There's a lot of bad, misleading information based on improper analysis of the Women's Health Initiative study. But the takeaway is hormone replacement therapy, if it's bioidentical, can be a great thing to keep your estrogen levels, your progesterone levels, if you're female, to prevent that, and lots of good things. So that's a topic for another Magic Pill Monday. But thank you for all you for paying attention this long. And yes, the Magic Pill. One last tidbit. I had this out. I almost forgot. I was going to share with you. In the Magic Pill is my 10 Commandments of Nutrition. This is my book, available on Amazon. So I have 10 Commandments of Nutrition. But one last thing to keep the calories in check, and I already shared with you a real-world example with the carrot cake, but commandment number 9 is thou shalt covet thy neighbor's dessert. So that's a takeaway. When you go to follow your protein forward strategy and share a dessert. And in our family, we have 2 kids and we do one dessert for all 4 of us. And that's how I know we keep our calories under 200, 250. So there you go. Thank you for joining, playing along. And if you aren't in Triumph Nation and you're watching this at any point, put Nation in the comments. And just like the logo at the top of the screen, we'll invite you to our private Facebook group where we are building a community. I want that to be 20,000 strong in the next 2 years. And we're going to leverage that community to negotiate deals with national level brands on products and services that will help you live a longer, healthier life. So that's one of my motives, but also to build a like-minded community of people that are time-starved but purpose-driven, who want to live a longer, healthier, happier life. So if that sounds like you, put Nation in the comments and we'll get you into the group and welcome you when you get there. And we have lots of valuable content in there like this, hopefully, when you get in that you can participate in. So thank you guys. Y'all have an amazing night. It's Monday. Hopefully this is motivating. You're going to start off this week with a bang and go forward this week. Protein first, baby. Y'all take care, and we'll catch you on the next episode.